Hi. Hi. I'm here to do a reading today. I drew a Nordic rune, and got kanaz, which is about vision. It resembles a torch, or the fire torch, but vision and knowledge as well. So I drew that before I started recording so that I could look up the meaning, because I don't have runes committed to memory at this point. Maybe I will one day. That's a good omen, especially because the energy that I'm feeling today, you know, on the heels of the full moon, there's like a heaviness. And I think it goes back to what I was saying the other evening when I did that tonal healing thing. Like, the transmutation is a collective thing. Like, when the energy ramps up and people, they may not know that's what's happening, but you know, it's the reason why they put more police out on the streets on a full moon. And they have sampled, I forget where this study is from, but the people in all different kinds of living conditions. And by that, I mean rural, urban, third world country, first world country, meaning like connectedness and devices and whatnot. Regardless of those conditions, there is a correlation with how people sleep. And, you know, people tend to be up later and up earlier on a full moon. And all of this to say, there definitely is some density that's like coming up within us, from the people around us, to be released collectively. And that can take the shape and form of many things. Another message that I'm getting along with that is just to be tender and careful. Back to the whole creme brulee tenderness thing. This is a different application of that. It has to do with ourselves and our indulgence in our own vices. Now, I think that, you know, life is pretty challenging and vices aren't necessarily a bad thing, but it's everything in moderation. You just have to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. You know, when you engage in certain things, especially like substances, whatever it may be, it makes you vulnerable, makes your energy vulnerable. Alcohol comes from the Arabic word al-ghul, which means demon. Demon or spirit or ghoul, like body-eating spirit, like under the influence of, you know. There's even theories about the fact that if somebody blacks out to the point where they don't remember and they're doing things that are very out of character, it's akin to, like, you know, being possessed by something, because it's not, you know, you and your conscious mind doing that, but that's a whole other thing. Can you chill? Can you chill? I guess not. All right, so anyway, yeah, just a need to be like, I guess vices is coming up with this because it's like, it's hard to endure certain things. Like, you know, you've heard people, if it's not you, just be like, I just really need, like, I can't wait to have a drink. Like, it's just that energy of just being like, ugh, this is all like too much. Just need to take a load off and chill. There's an inclination to do that right now, but we just got to make sure we don't do it to the total extent of like numbing things out. Maybe take off an edge, but don't shut things out that are trying to be felt and acknowledged right now. That's kind of the primary message that I'm getting to set the tone for this reading. And I'm going to set it up with questions. Typically, I just start out and, you know, pull the cards and everything, but I am going to prompt the initial spread with current energy to embrace, and energy to release, in that order. Current energy to embrace, and energy to release. And then we'll go from there. Current energy. No, keep going. Something clear. Current energy. I'm working on my Barbie breakdown, takedown compilation. It's not going to be just about Barbie. It's going to be about so many things. It's probably going to be 2 hours long. I'm sorting through so much stuff. I mean, I save all different kinds of posts and articles and things, and I save them into different folders, and I'm going to be referencing a lot of stuff. And instead of just being like, here's something that was posted, I'm individually researching all of it, basically just fact checking. Not that really can be done in this day and age, because all right, so this is current, this is to embrace, and now I need one more for release, but I'll keep talking. All right. we're going to take that little pile that came out for release. 3 cards came out for release. Basically, I don't just want to put up different posts and people's opinions and stuff and be like, and they're right, so I'm proving a point. No, I kind of just want to like dig through all of it. So if you have the bandwidth, the attention span, and the interest to hear me out, I'm like gearing up to be able to do that, and I'm very excited about it, honestly. That's my favorite thing to do, is like synthesize different things and kind of knit together what the world is presenting us with across many different fronts, and how it's all kind of functioning together to create the situations that we find ourselves in for whatever reason. So this is interesting. We only have one major arcana card out so far, and it's in the energy to release position. Current energy, we've got Page of Swords. So there's a restlessness. And again, this is tying in for me. I know it's not exactly, you know, the perfect definition of this card or interpretation, but what I just said about like vices and whatnot, this can be kind of a restless energy, or wanting to start something or do something or go somewhere. There's like this need to change things, and I'm only almost interpreting how it feels as a intolerance, right? Distress tolerance is a mindfulness tool, and it means that you can tolerate and sit with an uncomfortable feeling that comes from something in your life. So your reaction to discomfort can often be to, you know, soothe the pain with something instead of just being able to work through it mentally or let it pass. And it's kind of like we kind of just want to like move on, get out of kind of whatever weird in-betweens and sticky feelings we're dealing with right now. With energy to embrace, we have the Two of Pentacles. So what that's telling me is like, well, if you want to move out of that, then you have to make a choice. You have to make a choice about something that's in front of you right now. And I've always liked how she's standing on the infinity. And that kind of calls in this idea that you have to remember that like one choice, it's not, we kind of just want to, I think, establish things and then like lay back and let things be good. One choice leads to another choice, leads to another choice. There's this infinite nature around decisiveness. So it's not necessarily about the choice. It's about the empowerment of self that comes from being a decisive person. Energy to embrace, energy to release. So the release, interesting, huh? The Knight of Cups and the Knight of Wands. So what I'm getting with this, cut that out, please. Cut it out, boo-boo. What I'm getting off of this, with embrace being the Two of Pentacles, which just speaks to a choice. And it can even speak to indecision, but perhaps we need to weigh our options a little more closely. Because if we're releasing, these are action-oriented cards. The Knight of Cups, he gives the Ace of Cups, right? It's a emotional offering. The Knight of Wands is kind of like that brash. It can be a rushed energy, but both of them want to do something. And I think what it's saying is like, go back just to looking at the fact that there is another option. Maybe we're not seeing it within what it is that we want to go forward and do right now. So the other card that came out with those knights, though, is Death. And this is interesting in the release position because I'm all about embracing endings and new beginnings. You know, if somebody's unfamiliar with tarot and the Death card comes out, they're like, oh, great. No, obviously, that's not how it works. That's not what it speaks to. It's just the closing out of a cycle. So in the release position, you know, potentially, I will get clarifiers for everything and dig into this a lot more, of course, but I'm getting an initial impression of letting the like loose ends just be wrapped up in whatever way that needs to, like whatever thing that we're closing out, whatever habit that we're no longer engaging with or person. It's like it doesn't want to leave fully. Yeah. Can I get a clarifier for the Page of Swords, please, in the current energy? Aha. Aha. It's the Moon. I'm actually going to get bottom of the deck, too, because now things have gotten interesting. What's at the bottom? Aha. Current energy. All right. Let's take a look at all these together, and then I'll keep moving down the line and clarifying everything. So I talked about kind of like it's this curiosity, this new beginning, wanting to make a move, not really knowing how to do it, and needing to not make a move in this kind of emotionally rash way. Current energy, we've also got the Moon, the subconscious, things that we cannot see right now. And again, with kind of this like protective apprehension. current energy. So what can we take as a clarifier? Top of the deck, Ace of Wands, bottom of the deck, the Lovers. This is very interesting. Why? Because the Lovers also speaks to a choice. Yes, it can speak to partnership, but it is this duality card. It's two things, like the Two of Pentacles, coming together or not, you know? There's a choice that needs to be made here. That's the energy to embrace. And when we have the Ace of Wands, it's saying, just make sure that it's what you want. So there's a need to temper making a choice that isn't the best choice for us because we haven't fully let go of certain things, instead of taking a little bit more time to assess based on, you know, things that are coming up after this full moon, during this full moon. The Aquarius full moon, Aquarius, you know, very, it's almost like, fuck it, I'm going to be who I am, and I don't have apologies for that. Life is too short to keep doing things in a way that isn't, you know, true to myself. There's a lot of things that came up with this moon. But that's the read I'm getting on this. And let me clarify the release position. Knight of Cups, Knight of Wands, and the Death card. There she is. It's the Empress. Well, that's interesting. Say more. I want top of the deck. Oh. Oh. It's the Devil. Yeah. Alrighty. So in the release position, I mean, we're never wanting to release or get away from Empress energy, but what I'm seeing is that there are, how to best put this into words, there are, so it's temptation energy, but it's stuff that promises to bring us abundance and fulfillment, you know, this like fertile, beautiful Empress energy. We need to be a little bit more discerning about what paths actually lead to that outcome, because the Devil's sneaky, hides in plain sight, you know. It's dressed up in fancy clothes and sparkly things, and it's where all your problems go to get fixed, but not really, because it's addictive and it's low vibrational and it keeps you stuck in patterns that don't serve you, that we're trying to close out. So yeah, I mean, what a pair, right? What's advice on this kind of like tempting old cycle situation that is still lingering? And I'm not seeing it as the whole energy cycle. It's almost like the walking of the dead dog or the doing CPR on the dead body. It's like it's like impulses. It's like, well, if I don't do that, then what do I do? And I saw something the other day that was interesting and I liked it. And it said something like, if you're on a path of self-healing and trying to change your habits and you find yourself bored, that's a good sign, because boredom can actually be mistaken for peace. And if you have kind of a, you know, addiction to drama or chaos, like you're partnering with people that are fairly unhealed themselves, and you're used to kind of needing to heal people, or here's the advice. That's funny. It's the Two of Wands. So you're right. We can fill our lives with like something to do, even though it's not something for us to do and express. It's not like us going out and sharing ourselves with the world. It's us giving all that energy to a problem situation, right? That keeps things swirling around, stuck. As I've said before, it's a kind of an ongoing analogy. What soup are you going to stir? You don't have to stir that soup. You can go make your own soup with different ingredients that don't include the Devil's elixir. Yeah, I mean, the advice, again, is like, just continue to focus on what you actually want. We do a lot of things on default. So if you're in this place where you're almost like bored, again, current energy, it's like, okay, well, what now? I want to do something. I'm still kind of like uncertain and protective about, and I am seeing this as like a newfound vulnerability, like potentially about doing things in a new way, not feeling like safe to do that, like needing to watch your back while you do that almost. this card can just join the party of like making a decision, right? He's looking out too. There's different ways to go. There's no trail that leads through this land. He gets to pick his path. She gets to pick her pentacle. They get to pick each other, or pick to part ways, pick to not be together. But that's a metaphor in many cases, the Lover's card. Not for relationship, but for decision and commitment, right? Because when you make a decision, there's a commitment that's implicit to that in some cases. What am I here to clarify, please? Two of Wands. I would like some clarity on the Moon and the Nine of Wands in the current energy position, please. The Moon and the Nine of Wands. What do we have? The Queen of Pentacles. Okay, so I'll take that too. Yeah. What I'm getting is that we're thinking that well, I'm going to have to get clarity for this too. Because the way my brain works when it interprets the tarot is that it takes me somewhere and then it takes me like down these interpretations. It's Two of Pentacles energy, Two of Wands in my own mind. And then I get to a place where I'm like, I need more information. Just avenues and intersections. And what I'm seeing is that we're hesitant to make any move because we feel like it's going to compromise our stability. And so we're thinking deeply on, where that stability comes from, or we should be thinking deeply on where our stability comes from, right? And if the things that we actually have in our lives are aligned, or if we're clinging to things that aren't necessarily meant for us and the stability is built on faulty foundations. So there's born this resistance to like, but I've worked hard to cultivate this. Is this really what I want to release? And I can't answer that for you. Everybody's situation is different. But my guess is that we can have something that's far more stable and abundant, and thank you for focusing, than the Queen, right? The Empress is more than the Queen. So perhaps there are some excuses that we're making around things that aren't meant for us or are good, that are not good for us. They're lingering from this past way of doing things. And we're not really seeing through, like the Four of Swords is a meditative, contemplative energy. And so I see us trying to identify those things. And I see the Moon as triggering the desire to continue to slip back into, old things. And they give, the illusion of, like I'm seeing somebody who gets good news or has this new beginning or this new opportunity, and they're so excited that they party really, really hard, and then they embarrass themselves in front of the owner of the company that just hired them at the party when they get hired. So everything that they think they're doing, right, this celebration, this joy and this abundance, they foil it. They foil it unto themselves because of this overindulgence, right? And this bad habit. They're overexcited, celebratory partying is something that should be left in the old phase. And I'm also getting, right, it's like this advancement with the Knight of Cups, and like there's a healing energy with this, but it's like just a need to be calculated and calm with the things that we're doing and changing, and making sure that when we respond to things, and that could be dealing with challenging things, or it could be dealing with positive things, we're not making excuses for our own behavior. Okay, moving on. All right. Give me another card to clarify the Two of Wands, the Two of Pentacles, the Lovers, and the Ace of Wands. Here, let's do it this way. What are we resistant to? What are we still resistant to? And what is the advice to help with that? What are we still resistant to? No, just give me something clear. What are we still resistant to? Okay. Aw. And what's the advice to help with that? Yeah, I said it before with the 9 of Wands. All right. So I said before when I was showing this card, it's almost like there's this new way of doing things that does require a new, it's a new capacity. It's a newfound capacity to express ourselves. Yeah, I've always had, this is a strange analogy, but I've used this one for a very long time. And it's like a paper bag or a plastic glove or something. And instead of being like all the way in it, like perfect fit, we're like, it's like not a fit, you know? But then you try to go around and do things and the fingers aren't all the way to the tops of the finger sleeves. So there's always like this slack, right? And we're like trying ourselves on more fully so that when we act and do things, we can fully like wrap ourselves around something completely, and that has a different effect, right? The finishing quality of acting in that manner with a tight glove instead of some like sloppy sock thing, you know, is weird analogy. There's different quality of impact when you act in that way. And it has to do with parts of yourself that you denied in the past, that you're allowing to be more like present within yourself. And so there's like this discomfort with it. It's not necessarily wrong. It's just foreign. There's a need to protect ourselves. There's this idea that we need to think about, you know, if all of our stability, no matter how hard we've worked for it, and that could be it. I know she's a Pentacle Queen, so it's like the physical stuff, but I'm also seeing like reputation, right? If you're known in a certain way or for a certain thing for some reason. Okay, so what are we still resistant to? It's the King of Cups. It's just letting that new identity be however, like, you know, however soft and different and open as it needs to be. I'm also seeing there was that trend. I can't remember if this was during the pandemic or not. It's just the internet cycling stuff through. It's this trend where people would stack up like walls of like toilet paper, and then the cat would jump over it, and they keep adding and adding and adding. I'm seeing this like threshold to jump over. And it's almost like we perceive it as being like higher than it is, like in order to embody more of this open, like he's got the glove on all the way. We see this partition as being like, oh, it's a road closure. Go back the other way. Even though we know that ending already took place. And so we can like fuss around if we want to, you know, with old ways of doing things. But then we don't act in a calculated way. We kind of rush in, we do things sloppily, again, with the glove not being on properly. So being resistant to that full embodiment of like a new self that feels naked. What's the advice for that? I got 9 of Cups and 5 of Cups. Lovely, because they're in the same realm of happenings in that we've got cups. All of the 9 of Cups, that's emotional fulfillment. He's very pleased with himself, and he's got his little satchel pouch on his belt too. There's probably medallions in there, I'm just guessing. This guy, bummed, we know about him. He kind of feels sorry for himself, you know? Can't see through the haze, can't see the promised land, can't see the emotional fulfillment that's behind him if he were to step up. I mean, you know, stand up. And I'm going to get a clarifier for this, because what I'm getting, I mean, it's just step A, step B, 1, 2. It's like, you know, get up, focus on how you want to feel, embody the cause to the effect that would produce that feeling in your life. It's a macro, it's a micro, you know. Do you want like the golden rule, right? So if you're conducting yourself in society or as part of a team or in a relationship or within your family, how do you want those people, how do you want to feel? And then try to make those people feel that way. Not to get people to treat you a certain way, right? But it's more about like there's a there's a choice here, again, going back to the Two of Pentacles, Two of Wands. Are we going to kind of feel like that partition is truly a barrier, or are we going to step over it and do things a little bit differently? And I'm also getting what I heard in my head, let your guard down. Maybe we have to let our guards down with regards to certain things that we're trying to do differently. I am getting interpersonal relationship type energy off of just the fact that these are cups and it's the King of Cups, but not necessarily. All right, speak to me of the Devil and the Empress. And by that, I mean, what can we do about this partition and the, I don't know. I want 3 cards that clarify the picture around kind of like trying to take shortcuts. Trying to take shortcuts is kind of how I would put, like, stewing around, not letting endings actually close out, that Knight of Cups, that Knight of Wands, Devil energies, and trying to kind of cultivate an Empress energy without going over the partition. That was weird. I can't take it. It's too many cards. It's a whole chunk. It's cats going to town on my pom-poms. Can you maybe not? I like those. Kitty? She can't be tamed. That's what Mutt-Mutt's for. Yeah, I want a 3-card mini spread to elaborate on that dynamic, because that's a little muddy. Oh my God, it did it again, a whole chunk. It just won't do. It just won't do. 3 cards. One. 2. Yeah, I'll take it. It flipped over. It's the well. 3. Yeah. All right. It's because anything that we do that's self-sabotagey right now, it's denying the depth of our own potential. It's denying everything that I talked about with the well a couple readings ago around the fact that your connection, your like God-given right as a nature of just being alive, you can dream of things. We're all stifled in that way because of conditioning and programming in society. And we're told that, you can't do that, but you can. And we forget that. And so there's this energy of cheating ourselves, by clinging on to, like, doing things sloppily. I'm getting this idea around, like, sometimes I, as an artist who suffers a little bit from adult ADHD, or a lot of it, but I actually do pretty well. I'm very functional for how much my brain is crazy. But I think a lot of people are like that these days. And I mean, really what it is that, like, I'll be making a piece of art, but I don't have the attention span, the focus. I just want it to be done. And I kind of rush through the end of it. And it's like, this could have been so much better rendered with the care and the attention and the focus and the discipline and the patience that it would take to get it that way. And it's not about, like, I like to paint for 8 straight hours, 10 straight hours. If I don't have time to paint for at least 4 straight hours, then I won't go paint. And that's not the right way to look at things. My life simply doesn't allow me 8 straight hours to paint without interruption. And so I'm needing to make this transition, if I want to be as prolific as I have been in the past with producing work, to make a mental transition where I can accomplish something and take very good care, for an hour and a half or for 20 minutes. I can take care with doing something well for a shorter amount of time, because during those long expanses, I would end up burning out anyway, but I wouldn't want to walk away because I wanted, completion with the piece. I wanted to finish it. And so like, I share that because I see this need to not, like, you can't shortcut. You can't, like, trick yourself into, you can't look at all of the, like crap around you and be like, it's beautiful. You're only fooling yourself. There's this ability to kind of dig into the honest truth, not only with what's going on, but what you can do about it. The other cards that came out with the Well, not surprised. It's the Tower and the Queen of Wands. Yeah, I mean, the Queen of Wands, I said this the other day when she was appearing with the King of Wands, like, they are the most, like, cocky, if you will, the most egotistical of the queens. And yeah, okay, so what I'm seeing is, like, sometimes if we look at, so people who are conventionally very successful, right? Just whoever they are, here they are. Whoever they are, there they are. They have a certain way of being, conducting themselves, acting, speaking, carrying themselves, and it's kind of wandsy, like, yes, I did that. Yes, I'm very accomplished. And then people who try to emulate them because they want what they have, sometimes they just skip to the behavior, and they'll just be like, yes, I'm this and that, even though they haven't done the work or collected and I'm not saying that attitude is like, I think that people who are well, it's tricky because I can't really generalize, but what I'm seeing is, like, there's this sense that something around pride, and this too is like having things to protect in this current energy, like feeling like we're compromising of our pride if we do things in this more like thorough, spiritually aligned way. But the more we cling to, and this is the role of the ego, right? It's to give you this sense of self that you constructed, or is not that you constructed, but is somewhat constructed. If it gets threatened, the ego, or like, the monkey mind and psychology, it activates even more. And so what's happening is, like, we don't want to deal with the crumbling tower. This is an extreme energy. And so are these. So what I'm getting off of it is, like, we just keep saying, like, this is fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's not dead. It's just taking a break, and I can keep, stirring this soup, which is getting kind of gnarly, honestly. It doesn't feel good, and we know it. And I mean, I do general readings on collective energy, so this could be anything that's going on for you. It could be something that happened today, I doubt it though, because this is long-standing stuff. But I'm just saying the whole reading could apply to one interaction that you had or something. Or it could be something that you're trying to see yourself through, something you're trying to get off the ground. What are we not seeing? Because there's this moon card. Processing. I'll take both of those. What are they? What are we not seeing? Oh, it was 3. Look at that. What are we not seeing? This is meta. What are we not seeing? The bigger picture. The ability that we have to create something new based on going into the depths of what's changing in our lives right now, not seeing our stability at surface level, but understanding that lasting stability does come from a sense of emotional fulfillment. When you are emotionally fulfilled too, you find that you're a lot less guarded and protected around other people, because, people who do live in the ego and just base their success and their worth and their merit off of titles and pentacles, they feel threatened a lot more easily because they have a lot to lose. But when you're rich in spirit and in heart and in mind, then you don't have that much to lose. So what else came out with what we're not seeing? And this happened the other day. I said, what are we not seeing? 6 of Wands, victory, recognition, and success. That's lovely because it's still here. You know, whatever happened between the other day and today, we're still not seeing that there's victory here. There's like this fear. There's like this fear, and I feel it in the throat chakra. It feels like this clog of a desire to want to start something new, but not knowing how to, you know, fully let go of the certain parts of ourselves that I'm also getting that we're worn for protection, right? That we're worn for protection like a knight in armor. And so what else came out with the things that we're not seeing? The Hanged Man, Six of Wands, and the Queen of Cups. And so I said, what are we not seeing? That there's a perfect pair here. You know? That being in an emotional, vulnerable, true to your heart position, you know, with regard to the things in life, even if it's like not cool or not like you as people used to know you. I don't know how big the transformation you're going through is. Look at them, they're so funny. This type of thing is what they're always doing. That's why there's always commotion. And he's the one that should be scared. She will F him up. I'm sorry. Okay, back to the reading. I don't know how big the transformation you're actually going through is. It could be this total identity, you know, overhaul. It could be this great new opportunity that you're trying to like get off the ground. It could be a new relationship. And right now, by the way, the whole summer is about, it's not just like new stuff. It's about old stuff needing to go. And that's why we've been in this like lingering, like, trying to make transitions that Wheel of Fortune has not come out here, but it has in the past. The tower keeps towering, things keep changing. We have to keep recalibrating with these different things that we're trying to let go. And then like the new thing, right? It continues to take shape as we let go. Like when you let go of more stuff that doesn't serve you openly, honestly with yourself, like it really doesn't. Like, you know, maybe you thought it did, but it didn't. And I know I speak vaguely, and I always try to come through with examples when they're available to me, but I'm not getting any. So it's just like the thing that will take shape will change, the new beginning, the way that it could be, you know? And I've said like in previous readings, like the Star card, like the thing that you can, or the Magician, right? Energy of being able to choose and manifest and partner with the creative energy that's available to you, and artist energy as well. Author up that new beginning. The potential for that to come into sight and be held by you energetically and emotionally continues to change and bloom and it like firms up, right? I'm seeing clay, right? And the longer you leave it out, it kind of gets leathery, hard, and then you have the ability to etch into it, but it starts to take shape, right, over time. But I'm seeing us needing to let go of things to be able to let that firm up the way that it needs to, that new beginning. My point is embodying this new way. What we don't see is that like the perfect energy to match our new way will come in. I'm kind of seeing these as personified, like it's a risk to be open and vulnerable with ourselves, but if we do that, the perfect, you know, counterpart energy, the perfect answer, the perfect reward for doing that, reward, victory, success, will come in. You just have to trust in the fact that it takes a very different way of looking at things than we have employed in the past to approach different stuff. Please give me some cards that speak to what it is that we're not letting go. If there could be a collective gauge on the things that we're not releasing or that we're struggling to release. Show me what it is. It's the Queen of Swords. So I think it's just like admitting that we were wrong about certain things. She likes to be right. She knows she's right. She's got a lot of informants. She's no bullshit. She gets things done. It's like a certain way of doing things, and it's her way. I mean, that's kind of Queen of Wands as well, but it's almost like we need to, yeah, double back and do things a little bit differently, even if we were very confident in a certain way of being or doing at a certain other time in our lives. It doesn't mean we were wrong. And so there's a need to release any like shame around reauthoring other parts of our narratives. Releasing any like shame or like, again, with like, there's a pride issue. I mentioned that earlier. I'll get an advice card for it, but like, to truly, like the pride and the ego, the wounded pride, to truly be a prideful person, you know, you're okay to admit that you were wrong. And prideful person, I just mean to be proud of how you are as a person. Would you be proud of yourself if you weren't able to admit when you did things, you know, not the best way? Would you be more proud of yourself if you could, you know, zoom outside of yourself and watch yourself from above and watch yourself go through these motions, and you watched yourself kind of like double back and, you know, admit that it wasn't the best way, and then you move forward? That's, you know, I don't know. You can even, the loving parent again, the loving, nurturing parent self. Oh, I had a major download the other day. I didn't tie this into any reading, and I haven't yet, but it was about ancestors and energy matrices that connect generations of people together. It was really cool. New information, new learning around how those types of things can be conceptualized. I'll share about that later. I'll remember to do that. I will. So, yeah. I mean, admitting that we were wrong, that doesn't necessarily have to be to another person. It could be to yourself. And then we'll be able to kind of bypass this stuckness, because I think she's a little stubborn too. We can bypass that, you know? And don't forget that the energy to be embraced is this power of decision. It's this power of decision that comes with this new beginning. It's almost like you agreed to do some type of home remodel or something, and then the person comes in and says, okay, well, which upholstery, which drapes, which pillow. Now you have all these choices, and that's a good thing. It takes you have to own the fact that those choices are yours and be pleased with that, you know? Don't feel like burdened down by that. Be pleased by the potential to keep making choices in your life as your sovereign, healed, hopefully, self. I'm going to clean up these cards so that I have a little bit more of some space to work with. Oh, this is a really, you know, cleavagey shirt and situation, and I've learned my lesson, and I won't wear it again because I know it's distracting, but it's the bra under, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna stop talking about my boobs. All right, so, okay, well, 2 cards came out. They're face down, but I didn't even ask my question. So let me just get like a little bit of some direction here. Yeah, the Lionsgate portal's on Tuesday. I mean, we're already in that energy. It's just that it peaks and then it plateaus and planes off a little bit. But I mean, that's big transformational stuff. And energetically speaking, it's like upgrades and upgrades. Like it's just a lot of integration that's needing to be done. So I have 2 cards out. Again, they're face down. I haven't looked at them. But what I would like to know is, first of all, top of the deck, a clarifier for that Queen of Swords energy and what we're not, you know, having trouble letting go of. Just the hurt and the endings that have played out, you know? And like I said, she doesn't want to admit that she's wrong about something that didn't pan out. So where do we go from here? Picking these cards up. Aw. Fast moving energy. I don't read reversal. So it's the 8 of Wands. You know, you see there's no people in this card. It's like, it's as if somebody javelined all eight wands and they're moving fast forward through the air It can speak to, you know, communication, but what I'm seeing is like it could be a declaration of love, but also on a personal level, I'm seeing the King of Cups again. It could be you communicating to yourself like it's okay to be different than I was before. However that, you know, may look for you, but it has to do with emotionality or the expression of emotion. I'm going to cut the deck and get a clarifier for that. Ace of Cups and Eight of Wands. Yeah, having gone elsewhere to kind of consider emotional fulfillment or the emotional parts of our lives. And that moon, that big, beautiful moon. All right, I'm going to put all the cards back in the deck and I'm going to shuffle. And then I'm going to WAOK the dog so he stops beating up the cat and staring at me. I'm going to get 2 animal oracles and I'm going to get 3 cards from the traditional tarot after I've put everything back, just saying like, you know, energy of the coming week and advice. 2 cards for energy of the coming week and advice. And I know I've kind of cycled through like advice and blah, blah, blah. It's just a different kind of reading today. I don't know. Shuffle one more time, cut it 3 times, and then get, what did I say? Energy of the coming week and then advice. That's right. All right. Energy, coming week, and advice. I said I was going to cut it, but I didn't. Well, you saw me shuffle. Energy of the coming week. So, yeah, continuing to allow this energy, Major Arcana, is bigger than this energy, Minor Arcana. Continuing to allow the energy of the moon, the incoming, this intensity. Like a lot of the times with the Lion's Gate, with the full moons, it can be like, why do I feel so fill in the blank? That's the reason. Why do I feel so angry? Why do I feel so sad? Why do I feel so tired? Why do I feel so like excited? Like whatever it is, the stuff that's happening right now energetically, that's why, you know, there's a reason for it. So this energy is bigger, and I'm seeing it as like even the moon in the 8 of Cups picture, this big kind of overwhelming, almost like a sun at night. So like the subconscious, the emotions, all of this is like welling up like a full moon, right? It's edging out this defensiveness and this protectiveness against ourselves needing to be guarded. So this is the energy coming through the week. The advice that came out is just continue to look out and strategize about how you want it to be. You know, do you want it to be how it's been just because that's the only template you have for how life could be? It really takes a lot out of us to quantum leap. Move into new ways of doing our lives when you don't have any context for how it can look. It's like honestly just super courageous. Okay. 2 animal oracles and then we'll be done for the day with with the reading. Oh, I don't know. What else did I have to say on here today? I said the thing about vices. Yeah. Yeah, and I don't even mean just like the vices of the material world, the indulgent world. It could also just be like ways of thinking. That's the hardest stuff to identify because it's the way that you think. I'm seeing like an ant farm and the thoughts are the ants and the tunnels that the ants have made are your patterns of thinking. The ants don't know any different. They don't know that they can burrow through and make new paths. They just go the same way that they, you know, that's available to them. Again, it's the analogy that I've used before about like water moving through and carving the land. It will take the least, you know, path of resistance. So that's why I said it's like a courageous thing. Like we have to be able to apply our energy and our intention to creating things anew within our own mind. This is nice. Turkey spirit, give with gratitude and grace. Stag spirit, take the lead. We have 61 and 58. 7. Oh my God. Lord have mercy on me, my mental math. I'm so embarrassed. It's getting worse as time goes on because I'm like, now it's been 16 seconds since I have, what's 5 plus 8? 13? Thank you. 4. Okay. So we've got 7, 4, 11 altogether, 2. I just like to do that. I will read from the book for both of these. Stag spirit. Whether or not you have set your intention to lead, you may have found yourself suddenly called up to the forefront of your life. Stag spirit is a reminder that now is the time to heed the call to be sure, strong, and compassionate. Others will look to you, and you have it within you to see through the eye of stag spirit and walk with confidence as you take on the responsibilities that are yours now and model integrity in all that you do and in all your relationships. Be willing to see the best in others so that your compassionate heart keeps you on the right path. Stag spirit wants you to know that your responsibilities now are to yourself too, for you are learning and developing new skills. The best in you is coming into view as you step forward with strength, knowing that spirit supports you as you compassionately take the lead. You are a model for transformation now, sharing your experience, strength, and hope with others so they may grow and discover their best selves too. What a gift you are. Stay humble and authentic and walk your talk, for this is how a wise leader leads. Yeah. What I'm getting is like, it's like the devil energies, like being like, this way of life is all Empress energy. Like it's not, you know, we can poke holes in that very easily now with our discernment and how we've been changing throughout the last 2.5 months. And I think when things get, you know, intense like they are right now with the energy, it can be like, I mean, you know, I said this before with like the comfort zones, like the lawn chair. It's like, well, I'm just going to go sit in it again forever and decide not to leave. No, I mean, again, it's like there's a lot of courage that comes in listening to how your life is trying to get you to evolve and just being like, there's something to this and I'm like worth it. I'm like good enough. Because sometimes we see this beautiful opening or like a what if, right? Oh, that's what I was thinking about. I had got some messages earlier today around what ifs. It's almost like I kept hearing that from different angles. It was like all these different people asking what if, but most of them were asking what if negative? What if this went wrong? What if they did that? Instead of what if in the good way? What if it went better than I could have imagined? What if I can do it? So there's like a mental shift that needs to take place. And I will now read the protection message. Others may not be as far along as you are on your journey. When stag spirit appears in the... Oh, yeah, okay. That's another thing. Sometimes our experiences that we've manifested, you evolve out of it. But then it's like, well, what's going to come with me? Who's going to come with me? And you're meant to go alone. And people don't like to hear that. But maybe you're meant to evolve into a new way of being by yourself because you're like a pioneer. It doesn't mean you're going to be alone forever there. Remember, I got the King of Cups and then the Queen came right along. It's like once you go, even though it's a leap of faithy, you can be sure, right? The unseen energy was that Queen of Cups, that hanged man with that bigger picture. Taking the bigger picture on it shows you that there is 6 of Wands. There was, there is victory there, but you might have to go and leave some things or people behind. Of course, it's up to you, but okay. When stag spirit appears in the protection position, you are called to be compassionate and patient as you find yourself leading the way. When others struggle to follow you, they may be unsure that you can be trusted, challenging you to be kind and strong, challenging your value and questioning your worth. Know that spirit has put you in this place at this time for a purpose and will not abandon you when you need help with your new responsibilities. That's important to know. Yeah, I mean, I think We're always well supported by the universe. You're always seen, you're always guided and held. But I feel like it's even more so if we feel like we don't have support in the physical realm, you know, that we're used to having, like support, like, oh, I know that, oh, I don't have a good example, but like when we don't have evidence of that support because we haven't done things a certain way before, that's when you have more spiritual support. You know that you're never like completely out on a limb, out on your own. It only feels that way because you're strengthening a new muscle, a new way, a new path. Beginner's mind. It's fresh. Perhaps you are actually uncomfortable leading, maybe temporarily trapped by your small self, and are therefore promoting yourself too strongly, afraid that others might see weakness or imperfection in you. Let go of your fears and let Stag Spirit remind you that you have what it takes to lead wisely and ethically if you practice self-honesty and listen to others who wish to support you. Yeah, and that's giving me this idea around, like, again, it's like a truly, don't, try to, like, again, that weird example that I used that was kind of half-baked. I'm sorry, I'm not as articulate and clear-minded as I usually am today for whatever reason, but feeling like we have to appear a certain way, right? The pride and the ego and wanting things to be a certain way in terms of our own stature and accomplishment, so we just act that way instead of, realizing that, like, it's more amendable, respectable to be able to kind of like just double back and then do things the right way, or do things with integrity, or do things, that don't seek to prove or self-validate, but because that's the right thing to do, and you do get to decide what the right thing to do is. But a lot of the times people are blinded as to what that is because they're led from ego and not heart. And, I'm seeing the Devil and the Empress pairing again. Just using the worst of means to get the best of things. That's a weird phrase. Using the worst of means to get the best of things. And the best of things would just be like the illusion of having those things, right? Because what I talked about with true stability and emotional fulfillment coming from that thing that can't be taken from you, All right, here. Give with gratitude and grace. This is giving Six of Pentacles type energy here. Turkey Spirit's message for you is that you always have the potential for manifesting a rich reality, for the turkey represents generosity and a celebration of abundance through giving to others. Give freely without expectation and you shall receive, for the manifestation of abundance is happening right now. Align with it by sharing your good fortune with others, whether you give money, loving guidance, the gift of listening, or kindness in any form. Immerse yourself in the flow of generous abundance, being a channel for Turkey Spirit and the desire of Spirit to see all beings experience the blessing of plenty. That's so nice. Give with gratitude and grace from a wellspring of love and compassion, knowing that Spirit will respond by giving you all that you need in this moment and all moments to come. Yeah, when I was reading that, I got this like cute little visual of this, what are they called? Like lazy rivers? Oh my God, what I wouldn't give to be in a tropical place floating down a lazy river in an inner tube right now. But it was kind of like this cyclical lazy river, and there was somebody on the shore and they kept trying to want to, jump into it because there was all these people going around and around, and they just jumped in. And then suddenly they're in the current, this giving and receiving. All it takes to put yourself into a heightened state of abundance and like flow with abundance is just jump in with something. It could be just a gesture or like one amount of one quantity of giving. Here's one thing for you, whatever it is. You just have to kind of jump into that, but it's always there, right? You could be sitting on the shore watching it go around, but it's not inaccessible to you. Protection message says, are you giving in order to receive in kind, keeping tally of how much you have given and what is owed to you? This is not the way to experience abundance. When Turkey Spirit is in the protection position, it is a reminder to let go of any perception of scarcity or fear that if you give too much, you will not have enough for yourself. Use your spiritual practices to connect with Spirit and remember how it feels to embody abundance, and you will give as much as is needed right now. Know that whatever you need to fill your stores is coming to you right now. Love, prosperity, knowledge, and assistance from allies who are everywhere and want you to be the abundance you seek. Turkey Spirit is here to tell you that everything evens out when you are aligned with the law of abundance, as Spirit wants you to be. Abundance is yours. Yeah, Yeah. I'm also getting this need to just remind and put out there again that like manifestation is really, it's talked about all the time, and people are like, you focus on the thing that you want, but you just have to become that energy. You have to feel like when you're yearning for something, you're indicating its lack. When you yearn, when you long for something that you don't have, you're energetically affirming its absence from your life. When you just command the feeling, you summon it out of nowhere, into your essence of like, I am satisfied, like my needs are met. I have the feeling of sitting next to somebody like who I love, or I have the feeling of knowing like that my refrigerator is full, I have enough food. I have the feeling of knowing that, it's a very different feeling from manifesting in the way of like, what do I want? How badly do I want it? That doesn't matter. The universe doesn't care. It's all about like, is the charge energetically, are you dialed up like to meet the frequency of the thing that you're trying to get, and then it will come to you. I'm just gonna cut the deck, and I'm not gonna read the message, but let's see what else. Aha, we had her the other day. White Raven Spirit, trust in the magic. And now, I'm just going to cut this deck as like a final word to end off on. Page of Wands. Page of Wands. Enthusiasm, travel, creativity, exploration. I'm seeing it as like a new beginning for like a new attitude about the new beginning, which is like, I know, beating a dead horse so much throughout all of these readings throughout this time, but it really is, it's like, I see it as like this cycle and just like squeezing a cheesecloth. Do you know about cheesecloths? I don't even know what I'm asking, right? The straining process, right? It's like we're straining out all of the lesson and the necessity from like each one of these points of energetic upping of the ante. So yeah, I mean, there's like, I think it has to do with attitude again, and like we may not realize it. What I talked about in the beginning, when we get into that state of like, I just need a break, but instead of taking a break, we do something that's like indulgent. And that's fine again, like moderation is key. I always, and I've said this before, I'm talking to myself here too, with the lessons that come through the energy readings. It's not easy to do, but it's almost like, I completely lost my train of thought. It's as if we, wait, give me a second. Yeah, okay. So what's really happening when we get triggered, you could say, and I'm not saying like majorly triggered, like, oh no, like I'm, but like little triggers throughout the day, things that just test us. And this is happening right now because the world's being weird. People act weird on a full moon. Again, it's why they put more cops out on the streets around the time of a full moon, because it's documented that there's more crime, there's more suicide around full moons. It's intense and it affects everybody equally. And so we may not think that we're getting triggered, but we are. It's just that we're not processing it. So then it makes us want to go, whatever it is, do the thing that takes care of the fact that we have to process something. And by the sheer nature of engaging with it, we no longer have to deal with the art of processing it. And so we may not see this or identify this within ourselves right now. We may not be like, I'm avoiding something, or like, I kind of feel sad and I'm trying to make myself feel better, or whatever. We may not acknowledge anything consciously around that, but what we can do with Page of Wands being kind of the lasting note that I'm ending off on is like, there's a voyage that's about to take place, and this is fun. Like if you were packing to go on vacation, you would be excited. And that's the energy that we need to have right now. And like, yes, there would be little eye rolls and like, oh no, I forgot the adapter, and like we didn't launder that. We need to, there'd be these like irritations, and you'd be like, I just wanna, have a margarita and take a nap. I'm done with this. But it's asking us to keep remembering why we're doing this at all. Remember that there is a vacation that we're going to take, and it's metaphorically just the new chapter of existence where we are a little bit more empowered to live in a way that honors what we bring to the table, who we are, you know, even within the shackles of the way that society is structured, that is very limiting to people's individuality. And I saw this great post too about like, are you a creative person who's stuck in a job? And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna read more. Yeah, it was just talking about like how it doesn't make you any less creative, and how you can still spend time on your stuff, and how you can still be accomplished and, you know, professional in your creativity, even though you devote your full-time work life to a different job. And I liked that very much, and I needed to hear it because of what I was talking about before, where I don't have the time in my day or in my life these days to just paint for hours on end. That doesn't mean I can't paint. And I need to be able to wrap my mind around that. And even though I don't have, you know, a pathway in the valley that the water has carved, because the water likes to go for 6 hours straight, I'm actually doing my, you know, I'm not doing my work justice when I'm like, I'm going to finish it in one sitting. If I can apply my energy to an hour, you know, in the evening of doing that work, the results over time will be magnificent, and they'll be more careful, and they'll be more articulated, and they'll be more masterful than if I just tried to do it like in one blow. And so like what I'm getting at is that this whole everything that's happening, the tower energies, the changes, whatever you're going through, it's happening for you. It's not happening to you. It's happening for you. And it's up to you to be like, given this, what do I want? How do I feel? You know, what am I not acknowledging to myself? Am I really trying to like skirt around the outside of this deep, deep, distracting thing that I keep carrying around, you know, or engaging with or doing? And yeah. I think these are the questions that we're trying to answer at this time, because once the again, what I said probably 2 or 3 readings ago, what we do in August is going to set the stage and set the tone for the rest of 2023. So make sure you ask yourself those questions now, because once the new chapter is like more further fully underway, we're going to move into, you know, the eclipses, the eclipses and the portals of the fall, September and October. In November, big energy. It's just like, you want to make sure that you have this sense of satisfaction, being proud of how you're handling the transits right now, coming out of the other side of it with saying like, I no longer do that thing that's bad for me. I no longer engage with those people who just dragged me down. I no longer have that diluted, you know, black and white thinking pattern where I think it has to be all this or none at all. You know, I'm able to see the nuance. Like whatever it is that you're dealing with that has not been supportive of your growth, and you reach the dead end of it, just make sure that you really do it, because once the new chapter starts, it's just going to be this little splinter in your side that keeps catching and snagging on things, where it's like, I didn't want this to be part of this new chapter, yet you failed to remove it, you know, and leave it behind. So that's what we're doing. It's exhausting, so just be nice to yourself. Be nice to yourself. And yeah, I mean, again, with the contemplation of those twos, the Two of Pentacles, the Lovers, the Two of Wands, there is emotion here too. So just like try to be like, maybe, you know what's interesting? I had this talk with a friend a few years ago. We were talking about how much we lied as children. And like, we were just talking about like how certain people as adults, like when you lie as a child, you're trying to get away with things. But as adults, sometimes people provide little white lies, but they don't even know they're doing it. They do it out of convenience because they want to just kind of craft this narrative, because it's easier for them to tell you that something is a certain way than to give over the truth, which is very strange, especially if that said person is dealing with a psychic intuitive such as myself, because I don't think I've mentioned this before. I have like a smell and a sensation that comes in when somebody tries to lie to me. So anyway, but it's just like, if there's any type of like weird, dishonest, not even with the people around you, but if you've been lying to yourself out of convenience or to protect yourself, do not do that. That is not productive. And that is harmful to your end game and every, even if you're protecting yourself from something, that thing will tower down on you anyway. Just give it time. We don't want it to do that. But isn't that funny? I think anybody who watches this knows what I'm saying. Like, sometimes you can tell that people are just like, this is how it is. And I'm probably guilty of this myself too. This is why it's important to be like, nobody's perfect. It doesn't mean that, again, with like we don't want to release and admit certain things because then we have to cross through the valley of shame in order to get to the other side. Like, don't make it a valley, don't make it a valley, or let the helicopter of salvation and forgiveness like ferry you across. You can look down into the valley and be like, yeah, I maybe I wasn't at my best. Maybe I could have done better for that person or that situation or that thing. But there is forgiveness to be had. The universe forgives you. The other people in your life will forgive you. And if they don't, then you can forgive yourself. And you can, do the type of forgiveness, request the kind of forgiveness or forgive others in the 5D, but I won't go into that. If you don't know about that and you'd like to, then send me an email and I'm happy to explain it to you, but it's a whole nother video's worth of explanation to give, and I don't have the time.